Hello everyone, I'm Sadiq Hussain. I'm going to be talking about quantum computing. This is for ICS 382 Computer Security. The instructor is Jennifer Grant. A quick disclaimer, this video is solely for educational purpose and that it's not liable for any damages that could be caused during this presentation. Quantum computing. On October 23rd, 2019, there was an announcement made by Google declaring they've reached quantum supremacy. Well, what is it that they've reached supremacy in? Is probably what you're asking right about now. A quote I think that sums up what Google believed they had accomplished is this: a reduction in computing time from 10,000 years to a little over 3 minutes is more than just a game changer. It redefines the whole concept of the game. So, what is quantum computing? Normal computers, in the machine level, everything runs using either a 1 or 0. A normal computer functions like a coin. You can either have a heads or a tails, like a current flipping on and off. Getting both is impossible with basic physics that always exists around us. The chance of getting a 0 and a 1 is 50%. In quantum computing, it lives by a set of rules that exist outside our normal physics. It uses quantum physics. To simplify, its identity is on a spectrum rather than a two-choice system. So a bit can either be a 0 or 1, which is called a qubit. This state is referred to as a superposition. It's in a state of fluidity. So really just imagine a coin that's spinning nonstop that never falls. The best analogy I can think of is probably if you've watched Inception. How's there always that spinning top that never can fall over? That's how you usually figure out if they're in a dream or not. That's basically the concept of quantum computing. For security, we don't want to experience a fluid quantum reality in our normal lives. Because of this, it could be used and applied to future technologies that we'd only imagine was possible in science fiction films. One application of this is encryption. Passwords for sensitive information can be used with quantum uncertainty to create a private key to encrypt your message so that it's nearly impossible to hack. Nearly, so it's not totally impossible to hack, but nearly. This works to both benefit and put our sensitive information in danger. If a hacker is using a quantum computer to hack your password, there's almost no way for a non-quantum computer to defend against this attack. Notice how I said almost? Highlighted there. I'll get back to that a little bit later on. It takes a hacker 2,128 computational steps for a hacker to get inside a 128-bit AES key and a 256-bit elliptic curve key and a 3072-bit RSA key. According to Luther Martin at TechBeacon, each of these encryption approaches provide 128 bits of security. This is how you could tell the difference between a normal computer and a quantum computer. In a quantum computer, a 3027-bit RSA key is reduced from 128 bits of security to just 26 bits. Remember on the previous slide how I said almost no way for a normal computer to defend against a quantum computer attack? Well, there's a few algorithms for public encryption that can protect you from an attack from a quantum computer. This can be found at that link, which is a reference to the lattice based cryptography, and also at that link, which talks about key management interoperability protocol, KMIP. If you want to take a second, you'll pause this video and quickly type those links into your address bar. Well, you're probably thinking, what applications does quantum computing have to reality as of right now, other than security? Well, here we go. Um, Aerospace physics is one that's pretty interesting, I thought. Having more cost-effective air travel or space travel. You've probably all heard of SpaceX at this point. SpaceX is a good example of what's done using a normal computer. They've made a reusable rocket that can land on its own. So imagine the possibilities with a quantum computer. Molecular modeling slash chemistry. According to Singularity Hub, about 2% of the world's energy supply goes towards fertilizer production, which is known to be grossly ineffective and could be improved by sophisticated chemical analysis. Genomics. Gene editing is already a big topic in the public community. Gene editing can become more effective and sophisticated. For example, having hereditary disease wiped from DNA and adding things to boost physicality. Um, there's there's been stories of the possibility of taking away certain type of diabetes. If someone's more prone to cancer, just changing their genes to make them more resistant to it. The possibilities are endless with gene editing. Actually, there was a story of a weightlifter that a government I'm not going to name overseas was trying to gene edit a baby to hopefully make them grow up into one of the strongest humans alive. Basically making a weightlifter. Um, that was found out pretty early, and there was a lot of public backlash. The scientist who was trying to do this experiment with the government um, has been just shamed away from the scientific community. Um, Drug design. Personalized medicine could become more common and sophisticated. Companies can try to figure out how a drug will affect someone based on their specific genetic makeup, along with understanding what their short term and long term effects are, and trying to maximize the treatment. Forecasting. Um, if you look at your weather app, sometimes you'll see it's supposed to rain, go outside, it's clear day. Other times you're hoping it's gonna be a clear day and then it just starts raining randomly, even though the weather said it was not gonna rain. With forecasting, you can predict the weather patterns more accurately, and you can also have earlier warning systems. So if there's gonna be a hurricane or a tornado, um, large hail that might even damage cars, people can just plan ahead of time to get to safety or to just take care of their personal belongings. If there's something in their backyard that might fly away, look at the weather app and plan ahead of time, secure all their stuff. Optimization, logistics, and planning. Figuring out the most cost-effective path for shipping or hauling products. Quantum computers' predictive capabilities are matched with its ability to crunch big numbers. By that I mean, um, if a company is trying to ship a certain product to a certain country by a specific time, um, they most of the times they have to spend a lot of money uh, for quicker shipping. So, for example, when we're shopping on the Amazon, we want it in one day. It might be more than if we would have gotten it 7 days later. With quantum computing, it figures out the most cost-effective path and even altitudes when the plane's flying, just to save as much fuel as possible. So optimization with quantum computing will for sure save a lot of people money, and also save a lot of people time to be doing other things as well. Um, More applications, financial modeling, predicting the markets and simulating the probability of stock prices. Also material design, modeling, and making solar batteries with the best materials that will last longest. Um, an issue sometimes with solar batteries is they don't last that long, or just figuring out what the best materials are to have the longest lasting battery. Having a battery that lasts the entire lifetime is something that I'm pretty sure a lot of companies out there are really trying to discover and figure out. That's like a gold mine, trying to figure that out. More security stuff. Even though there are no quantum computers today that can break any modern encryption tools we use, this can be avoided in the near future. When it comes to encryption, there are two main ones. Symmetric encryption, it uses the same key to encrypt and decrypt information. Asymmetric, which commonly is known as a public key. There are two mathematically linked keys. One key is given publicly so people can encrypt messages, but the other key is kept private for the owner to decrypt messages. Symmetric cryptography is faster than public key cryptography This is why it's used to encrypt all stored data and communications. Public key cryptography is used for encryption, for exchanging symmetric keys that are used for authenticating, signing certificates, messages, or documents. Um, Also, certificates that or typo certifies that public keys with identities with their owners. So it makes sure that the person who's decrypting or the person encrypting are who they say they are. We we all use HTTPS sites. You're probably on one right now on your browser. While that is using public key cryptography to authenticate the site's certificate and set up a symmetric key for exchanging communications to and from sites. The math, the math for symmetric and public key cryptography is very different. The difference has an influence that affects their security. If you're this far into my talk, you've probably already figured out how a quantum computer can get into either of those cryptographies. It can be done with brute force, which is try every single code combination possibly imaginable using a normal computer, depending on the security of the encryption, could take far too long. uh, Imagine you typing in, trying to figure out some random person's iPhone password, with even with limited attempts, um, would take you forever. Forget just having the three time you can try something and then it locks you out, which is even worse. Um, for example, in July 2002, there was an announcement that a group had cracked a symmetric 64-bit key. It took more than 3,000 individuals, along with almost 5 years of grinding work. This just isn't a feasible thing to always do. So, what are the figures of powerful quantum computing is what is it today and where does it need to be? According to tech writer Dorothy Denning, quantum computers now operating have too little processing power and are too error prone to crack today's strong codes. The future code breaking quantum computers would need is 100,000 times more processing power and error rate 100 times better than today's best quantum computers have achieved. This study does not predict how long these advances might take, but it did not expect them to happen within a decade. Even though this would be an amazing feat, people would not trust in sites that contain their sensitive information. This is why there is a counter to quantum encryption breaking. As I mentioned before, there is an algorithm that are resistant to quantum encryption breaking. According to the US National Institute of Standards and Technology, they are already evaluating 69 potential new methods for what is called post-quantum cryptography. The organization expects to have a draft standard by 2024, if not before, which would then be added to web browsers and other internet applications and systems, and also would be pretty profitable. In conclusion, no matter what hacking methods are created and counter hacking methods are made, there is no such thing, or will there ever be, 100% total security. Hackers are always coming up with new ways to steal things, and they're more motivated to take than there are people to preemptively stop them. Even without hacking, accidents do happen. For example, Microsoft saw that two of their own apps had accidentally revealed the private encryption keys they were using to the public. After the point, After that point, all communication going through the app is now exposed and insecure. So they basically had to throw away the entire app. Please stay vigilant and always be realistic when it comes to your expectations of tech, because they will never be as good as you want them to be 100% of the time. Remember, 100% of the time. If you guys are looking, if you probably were thinking throughout the entire talk, what does a quantum computer look like? These are the ones that are currently built today. Um, this one specifically is an IBM's first quantum computer. As part of the collaboration, an IBM Q System 1 quantum computer will be installed in the IBM Computer Center near Stuttgart. The system is scheduled to go into operation in early 2021, so this right around the corner, and will be the first of its kind in Europe. Fraunhofer plans to bring together established partners from research and industry under the umbrella of a research infrastructure of Fraunhofer's institutes, which will work together in a centrally coordinated national Fraunhofer competency network for quantum computing. The network will initially be represented by quantum competence centers in 6 German states. More than 10 Fraunhofer institutes are already working on various fields of quantum technology.